Can you believe that, in the heart of glamorous, bustling America, a chilling crime once unfolded? A 6-year-old girl was found murdered in the basement of her own home. And the most shocking part, nearly 30 years have passed, and the killer is still walking free. JonBenét Ramsey. 6 a.m., December 26, 1996. In the quiet city of Boulder, Colorado, Patsy Ramsey screamed after discovering a ransom note placed on the staircase leading down to the basement. The letter claimed to be from a small foreign faction and demanded $118,000 in exchange for the life of little JonBenét. The family immediately contacted authorities. Hours passed with no sign of JonBenét. Then, around 1 p.m. that same day, her lifeless body was found in the basement. Her hands were tied. Duct tape covered her mouth. There were strangulation marks on her neck and a blunt force injury to her head. The autopsy would later reveal JonBenét had died long before she was discovered. JonBenét Patricia Ramsey was born in 1990. She was the youngest child in the prominent Ramsey family. Her father, John Ramsey, was the CEO of a successful computer company. Her mother, Patsy Ramsey, was a former Miss West Virginia. JonBenét had one older brother, Burke, born in 1987. From a young age, JonBenét was a rising star in the world of child beauty pageants. With her sparkling blue eyes, radiant smile, and a natural confidence in front of the camera, she quickly became the media's darling, a little princess in the spotlight. Back to the morning of December 26, 1996. After discovering the ransom note, Patsy called the police immediately. This, despite the letter's chilling warning, "Do not contact the authorities or anyone else, or JonBenét would be beheaded or executed." 2 officers responded to the 911 call and arrived at the house within 3 minutes. They conducted a quick search of the residence but found no signs of forced entry. Officer Rick French went down to the basement and came across a door secured with a latch. He didn't open it, assuming that any intruder would have escaped through an unlocked exit. A latched door, in his mind, meant no one could have gone that way. But later, JonBenét's body would be found behind that very door. Meanwhile, John Ramsey was preparing the ransom money. A crime scene investigation team arrived, but they only sealed off JonBenét's bedroom, believing this was a kidnapping case. The rest of the house remained unsecured, as friends and family of the Ramseys gathered to offer support. The scene was likely contaminated, evidence unintentionally destroyed. At 8 a.m., Detective Linda Arndt arrived, hoping to monitor any potential contact from the kidnapper, but no one ever called to collect the ransom. At 1 p.m., Detective Arndt suggested that John Ramsey and Fleet White, a family friend, take another look around the house to see if anything seemed out of place. They headed to the basement. John opened the very door that Officer French had ignored earlier, and there, he made a devastating discovery. JonBenét's body. Her mouth was covered with duct tape. Her neck and wrists were bound with nylon cord, and her small body was wrapped in a white blanket. John carried his daughter's body upstairs, but in doing so, the basement crime scene was further compromised as others came to look, unintentionally destroying key evidence. An autopsy concluded that JonBenét died from asphyxiation due to strangulation, along with a severe skull fracture. There was no clear evidence of rape, but sexual assault could not be ruled out. The examination revealed injuries to the vaginal area, though no semen was found. The report indicated that a broken paintbrush had likely been used both to assault and strangle the child. The forensic pathologist also noted signs that the area may have been wiped clean with a cloth. In the end, the death was ruled a homicide. The nylon cord and the broken paintbrush were believed to be the weapons used to strangle JonBenét. Part of the brush's handle was recovered, but the other half was nowhere to be found, despite extensive searches by investigators in the days that followed. The autopsy revealed a piece of fruit or vegetable matter, believed to be pineapple, in JonBenét's stomach. It suggested she had eaten it a few hours before her death. Crime scene photos showed a bowl of pineapple with a spoon sitting on the kitchen table. But both John and Patsy claimed they had no memory of giving JonBenét any pineapple that night or even seeing the bowl. However, police later reported finding Patsy's fingerprints on that very bowl. Neighbors reported hearing a scream and seeing a faint light inside the Ramsey house on the night of the murder. But strangely, no one inside the home claimed to have heard anything, not even what might have been JonBenét's final cry for help. One of the basement windows was found broken, a possible point of entry for an intruder. But investigators noted that the windowsill was covered in dust and cobwebs, undisturbed, suggesting that no one had climbed through it recently. A suitcase was found positioned directly beneath the broken window. It had visible scratches and marks, leading to speculation that it may have been used to either enter or exit the house through the basement. A footprint from a pair of high-tech brand boots was discovered near the basement area. It did not match any shoes owned by John Ramsey, raising further questions about who else may have been in the house that night. An unknown DNA sample was found on JonBenét's underwear. It did not match anyone in the Ramsey family, and to this day, it has not matched any profiles in the FBI's national database. 2 unidentified footprints were discovered at the crime scene. However, there were no footprints in the snow outside the house, despite it being wintertime. Still, investigators noted that fresh snowfall could have covered any tracks that might have been left behind. The ransom note was unusually long, 2 full pages. Its tone was strange, lacking urgency, emotion, or the direct threats typically seen in kidnapping cases. It also included deliberate misspellings of simple words, while more complex words were spelled correctly, raising suspicions that it had been carefully crafted to mislead. But the most baffling detail? The ransom amount, $118,000, was identical to John Ramsey's recent Christmas bonus. The note even specified $100,000 in $100 bills and $18,000 in $20 bills. As the investigation dragged on, multiple theories and potential suspects began to emerge. One of the earliest suspects was Patsy Ramsey, JonBenét's mother, and the person who discovered the ransom note. Handwriting experts noted that the letter's style, including its block lettering, unique formation of certain letters like the capital A and overall tone, bore a striking resemblance to Patsy's own handwriting. No fingerprints were found on the note besides Patsy's and those of law enforcement. Even more suspicious, the note and its draft were written on paper and with a pen from inside the Ramsey home. Investigators estimated that writing the ransom note would have taken around 21 minutes, a questionable amount of time for an intruder in a hurry to avoid being caught. This led to one of the earliest police theories, that Patsy Ramsey may have accidentally killed JonBenét during a moment of rage, and then staged the scene to look like a kidnapping gone wrong. Burke Ramsey, JonBenét's older brother, was 9 years old at the time of her death. He too was considered a possible suspect in the early stages of the investigation. Some theorized that a sibling quarrel might have escalated, leading to an accident that was then covered up by the parents. However, Burke was eventually ruled out as a suspect and treated solely as a witness in the case. Beyond the Ramsey family, several other individuals have drawn public suspicion over the years. These include Gary Oliva, a convicted sex offender, Michael Helgoth, an electrician with a troubled past, Randy Simons, a photographer from JonBenét's pageant circuit, and even Bill McReynolds, the town's beloved Santa Claus. But despite intense speculation, none of them have ever been charged in connection with JonBenét's murder. Police prosecution conflicts and mistakes. The Boulder police faced heavy criticism for their mishandling of the crime scene. Multiple people were allowed to enter and move freely through the house, compromising potential evidence. Most notably, John Ramsey picked up his daughter's body and carried her upstairs, an act that destroyed, or at the very least, contaminated critical forensic evidence at the scene of the crime. Friends of the family reportedly used cleaning spray on the kitchen counter, potentially erasing vital evidence. Police failed to conduct a thorough search, overlooking the very room where JonBenét's body would later be found. Some pieces of evidence were lost, and others were mislabeled. Even more troubling confidential details from the investigation were allegedly shared with the Ramseys and their friends while they were still inside the home. Although the unidentified DNA found under JonBenét's fingernails and in her underwear was initially cited as evidence that cleared the entire Ramsey family, some sources later claimed that this DNA evidence may have been compromised, raising doubts about its reliability and leaving the case shrouded in even deeper mystery. To this day, the case remains unsolved. No suspect has ever been formally charged or brought to justice. Despite significant advancements in DNA and forensic technology, the samples collected at the scene have yet to be matched to any known individual. The mystery of JonBenét Ramsey's murder continues to haunt investigators, the public, and the world. In 2013, it was revealed that a grand jury had actually voted to indict both of JonBenét's parents on charges of child endangerment. But at the time, District Attorney Alex Hunter declined to prosecute, stating that there was not enough evidence to prove their guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. As of 2024, the case remains an open and active investigation under the jurisdiction of the Boulder Police Department. Police Chief Stephen Redfern stated that authorities have thoroughly investigated numerous individuals identified as possible suspects over the years, but the case remains unsolved. John Ramsey still holds hope. He believes that with today's advanced DNA technology, and by submitting the evidence to world-class forensic labs and conducting genetic genealogy research, the identity of his daughter's killer can and will be uncovered. The JonBenét Ramsey case continues to captivate the public and is considered one of the most haunting criminal mysteries in American history. It's been the subject of countless media reports, with new documentaries still being produced decades later. The Ramsey family's relationship with the media became a defining aspect of the case, portrayed by tabloids as America's favorite villains and accused of profiting from their daughter's death through books and high-profile interviews. The existence of numerous theories and suspects, from brother Burke Ramsey to outsiders like Bill McReynolds, Gary Oliva, and John Mark Carr, only adds to the case's complexity. And while DNA evidence has ruled out many of them, its credibility has since come into question, leaving behind only more uncertainty. So, is the truth hidden behind the image of a powerful, respected family? Or are we simply facing a killer who was smart enough to disappear? What do you think happened? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more chilling true crime stories like this one.